Okay. As mentioned, I'm cool like that. So I'll be recording all our lectures. I post them on YouTube afterwards. So if you can't make it, you can watch class afterwards. Pretty boring because I refuse to do any edits. It's just huge, long pauses, probably a lot of the time. It's just my screen and my voice, okay? And so, of course, if you speak in class, it probably won't pick it up, but just so you know, it would be in the recording as well, just so you're aware. But usually there's not, a ton of talking. Lectures are in Zoom as well. Obviously, I'll be here in person. Blabbing, but roads get bad later in the term, that kind of thing. It is 8 a.m. So if you want to join through Zoom instead, that's totally fine. You'll have to be kind of just a passive observer in that case, because I can't see the chat. And also that would be super distracting. And so if you're joining on Zoom, that's A-okay, cool. Oh my gosh, I'm Emily. All I said was I'm super cool like that. I'll be your math guide this term. And so I'll go back into the contact information. But you're welcome to hop on Zoom during class time if you want. I do use it for all my other lectures as well. So I use the same Zoom room. Even if you wanted to meet office hours on Zoom, we would just use that same room. So I've posted my schedule so that you know when I have other classes. So if you hop in there and you're like, wow, this is not my class at all, probably in another class, that's fine. You're welcome to stick around, but just so that's not too confusing. So now that I've mentioned that, I guess I don't need to be in student view, because now I can give you the Zoom classroom link, and also this will be last year's lectures. We're going to do basically the same thing. In theory, you could just watch the whole course if you wanted to, that's fine. It's not cheating or anything. I'll update it with our playlist, but just so you can see what it would look like. And then I'll just upload to our playlist after each class. It takes some time for it to buffer and things like that. So, but usually by the end of the day, I'll have them posted. So if I haven't, maybe give me a little prod, because I might have forgotten or just ignored it. So like I said, you're welcome to watch the videos from last term or last year, I guess. But I'll update it with our videos as well. Okay, so I don't like to show those links before we've talked about it, because then I get all these messages saying, I thought this was an in-person class and it says there's a Zoom link, and kind of is. Well, it is an in-person class, of course, but I want you to have access however you need it. Okay? And of course, at the end of each class, I'll post whatever notes I write on Moodle, and so you'll have those to follow along with. Okay. Okay. Now I'll close the door. Kind of a busy spot. Tuesday morning. I resisted the urge to see who was teaching in here. I probably don't know them. Okay. Okay. Example of a pause, I guess, in the video. That's okay. Kind of glitching out here. Did you get my message last night? See, done. Awesome. So I've never really had to cancel a class because I was sick or anything until last term. I was super sick, and then I was relying on these announcements getting through to everyone. So then I decided, okay, I'm just going to make sure that everyone has these announcements coming in on the first day, and then I can kind of breathe easy. Okay. Hopefully that's not the case, but if I ever need to reach you, then that will be how. Did you guys set up some sort of mechanism for communicating with each other? Okay, nice. Did you use Teams? What? Discord. Okay.
We need to have a
Nice.
Okay.
Okay. Discord it is. I'm on there, but I'm really bad at being on there. Okay. So as promised, today we're just gonna kind of ease into it. Well, I don't get to know you, but you get to kind of know me a little bit better. And so we'll just walk through the Moodle page and then kind of more officially walk through the course outline, and then that should be planning. Okay. So as I mentioned, I'm Emily Lee. So many E's. 5. It's not like my parents are super cool or anything. It's just Emily spelled funny. I was born in Sweden, and that's how you spell it there. And it was like the most common name that year. What year? 1986. I know. So they're like the opposite of cool. But anyways, my maiden name was Gustafson, so Lee's a lot easier, and it makes my email a lot shorter. elee@okanagan.bc.ca. Welcome to email me. I do give out my cell. Don't call me, so that's weird. I won't pick up for like many reasons. I won't pick up. My ringer is never on, and so that's one of the reasons. But also, unless I know who it is, right? If you've messaged me in the past, so you are welcome to text you. In fact, I encourage, or text me. I encourage you to text me if you have any questions. It's kind of my preferred mode. And so there are all these avenues, but I've been kind of handing out my cell phone for years now, and it's worked really well for me. And so I know that kind of introduces another avenue for you guys, and so maybe that's annoying, but I'm really like old about being on Teams, for example. Same thing with Discord. I just kind of I'll get there. I'll get there eventually, but I have 2 things that go to my phone already: my email and you can text me. And so kind of if you need to get a hold of me, that's how you'll do it. If you prefer email, that's fine, right? I just find that texting kind of eliminates a lot of the formality, right? If I have to write an email, you kind of want to start with, "Hello, Emily. Hope you're doing well." Then it kind of takes some time to get to the question, right? Whereas if you've texted me in the past, I mean, preferably you'd let me know who it was first, so that I know who I'm talking to. Maybe what class even. That might be nice. Although I can usually kind of figure it out. But once I have that, then I'll just save you in my phone and I'll know, and you don't have to reintroduce yourself, okay? And so, and the reason I find that texting is kind of what I prefer is because if you're working on a problem, especially in math, right, there's a lot of kind of handwritten work, right? And so what are you going to do? Type all that out? No, right? Just take a picture, text me a picture. I can look at it. I can kind of draw on the picture or doodle something on my end, send you a picture back, and it's just kind of a little bit quicker. Saves you a little bit of work typing out the question. Okay, and so some of my colleagues, they're always kind of weirded out when I give out my cell phone, I guess, and they're like, well, you might get messages like anytime. Yeah, that's okay. I'm an adult. I can decide when it's appropriate to reply, and when I'm sleeping, I won't reply, that kind of thing. If I'm busy, I'll let you know, right? Oh, sorry, I won't be able to look at that until, blah, 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 okay? What I want is for you to spend the time to formulate your question, okay? That's almost 50% of solving the problem, right? Is articulating what the problem is, right? So a lot of the time, you put it out there, just putting the question out there. Hey, I'm working on this problem. I can't seem to figure out, this piece here, right? And so articulating what the problem is that you're having will help you solve the problem, okay? And so I want you to put it out there no matter what time, day or night. Like I said, I can decide when it's appropriate to reply. Okay. Usually if it's a text, it feels a little bit more urgent, right? And so I try to kind of get those off my plate as quickly as I can, especially if it's, a quick little reply. And sometimes I wake up to just a series of messages, right? And it's, Emily, I'm working on this assignment. It's due tonight. I don't know how to do this problem. What am I supposed to do? And then I can't figure out how to do this. And then it ends with, never mind, I got it, thanks. Well, that was easy. Right, so just kind of putting it out there really does help. Okay? And so that's why I encourage you to just put it out there, ask me a question if you have a question. Okay. And so, yeah. Any questions? So far. I'm in C104, same as Frank. I always get kind of let down. You're never there to ask me questions. You're always there looking for Frank. I know it. But I sit at the front, so I'm like the first, I guess I'm kind of like the receptionist. Hello, can I help you? And so, but then you know where I am at least. And so, because I'm kind of available to you anytime, I have moved away from the traditional office hours because it was just me tethered to my desk and no one would be able to come then, or they just didn't have questions at that time, right? And so I say office hours are by appointment. That appointment can be, hey, Emily, are you on campus? Can we meet right now? Yes. Okay. And so that's kind of the extent of the appointment. You don't have to kind of book in advance or anything. Essentially, if I'm in my office, it's my office hours. Okay? And so if you're working on something, just pop your head in. You guys are usually working in the C building anyways, so it's kind of easy for you guys. Just pop your head in, see if I'm there. If I am, right, then you can ask me a question, okay? If I'm kind of on a time crunch, again, I'm an adult, I can just tell you, oh, hey, I'm working on this other thing right now. Can you come back in half an hour or something like that? Okay. And so, yeah, kind of office hours all the time, but also never. Convenient for me. Okay. So, any questions so far? Okay. Has anyone tried the Zoom link? You guys hopped in there. Let's see here. What happened in my first class, I'd gone into the wrong Zoom room. And so I had to fix that. Okay. But anyways, try it. See how it goes. I'll leave the course outline for just a little bit. We'll just walk through the Moodle page. Look at this beauty schedule, huh? Except for this little guy, 4 to 6 on Friday. But besides that, pretty good. So this is my schedule, obviously. And that's more so that you know kind of when I'm around, when I'm not. I've also printed it and posted it outside C104. And so if you're kind of looking for me, then you know where to find me. We're going to use an open textbook. And so you can download the textbook here. We're going to plug through 1 through 4 so chapters 1 through 4 very thoroughly, and then kind of do a mix and match of 5 and 6, which is trigonometry. So we're not going to do a whole lot of trigonometry, but some. I have to touch on some. Okay. This is going to be essentially a pre-calculus course, and so this program is tricky in the way of from a math perspective, because you guys are all coming from different math levels, okay? And so if you feel comfortable with pre-calculus, then just take the easy, the win, right? And just some people, you know, it's been a long time since they did math. They might not feel very comfortable doing math, but we need to have these kind of core concepts. And so I haven't said it explicitly, but in terms of attendance, I am not going to take attendance. I hate to say I don't care. I care about you as people, but I don't care whether you come to class. It doesn't, well, it kind of bruises my ego a little bit, but that's not your concern. Right? And so, no, it doesn't, don't worry. Right, but you don't have to let me know if you can't make it, right? As long as you are learning the materials somehow, that's all I care about, okay? Not all I care about, but that's my main thing, okay? So if you've got a good handle on this material already, then as long as you stay on top of the assignments and the tests and things kind of go well, then cool, awesome, you did it. That's all we're going for. Okay. And so let's see here. You can download, so like I said, it's just an open textbook. So it is just a PDF. I should have checked, but I think you can buy them on Amazon. 30? Nice. Okay. So if you do want kind of a hard copy, they do exist, but I don't order them into the bookstore because they get mad at me when they don't sell them. So fine, you get none of my textbooks because they're all open source. And so it's kind of split into 2 sections: algebra, which is what we're going to focus on, and then, hey, it says Amazon right here. And then trig, which we're going to just kind of dip into and then come out of. Okay. So let's see here. There is a math stats Discord that you can join. A lot of our problems that we're going to be working on they are, you hate to say just, but they are pre-calculus problems. And so a lot of the math profs are on there. They're better than I am at being on there. And a lot of people can answer these problems, not just me. Okay, I'll be the only one who's kind of used to the problems that I'm assigning. But in general, if it's general concepts, then they can always help you out, right? So if you want to keep it on Discord, you can. And Steve's really good about being on there. And Brian Penfound, who's our chair now. They're both super active on there. You guys have met Kate. Kate is like superhuman because she can help you with all kinds of subjects, not just math and stats, which is my jam, but she can do like chemistry, physics, biology, math, stats. Did I say physics? It's hard. And so you've already had the intro by Kate, but I also posted the link just so that you have it, right? And has anyone been to visit Kate yet? We haven't had class, but she's awesome. Some kind of towards the middle end of term, a lot of people just start doing their homework in the Learning Center or Success Center. They're always changing their name, but what they do is the same. And because then you'll always have someone that can help you. Hey, I'm working on this. How do I do this? And so it's free to use. They've been paid, don't worry. And so may as well use them, right? So they're getting paid by the college, so don't feel bad about that. Josh can also help with math. And so it'll be Kate and Josh that you're kind of looking for. I have heard that Josh is a little bit more on the hardcore math side, so he might, but Kate is very familiar with this course, and so she'll be a good resource. Okay. Let's see if I can change it. I'm all zoomed. Switch role to student. So I've got all these things that I've hidden. Oh, look, I finished the Discord poster. Nice. I post this TED Talk. We're not going to watch it because I feel like the sound is always weird, but it's just a quick little TED Talk on grit. And so Angela Duckworth does a lot of research in kind of learning math, teaching math. And so I like this TED Talk because it kind of aligns with what I've always felt, is that math is 80% attitude, right? And so I know what you're thinking, that's nuts. Well, here's a video to back me up. Okay.
I did a whole essay on that in grade 12 English.
That's the wrong attitude. So this course is going to be 80% attitude, okay? And try to have fun with it.
English, not math.
And so I encourage you to watch the TED Talk just for I don't know, amp you up. Beginning of the term, you can do this. Okay, so I have posted, there are videos that go with the textbook. Now, David Lippman is an awesome author, and so I just kind of trust the videos that he has made and kind of curated. I have not watched them all, okay? And so I've just kind of I have had them available to me. I have put them out here, and obviously you have access to my videos, which will be my emphasis. Okay, but if you need kind of supplementary videos on each of the sections, then you can watch those textbook videos. They're usually a little bit shorter than mine. I don't know how they do it. I condense stuff. I blab forever. But so I posted the videos up to chapter 5, which is kind of reasonably where we're going to get to. Like I said, I'll kind of draw on a little bit of chapter 6, but not too much. Okay. I didn't get very far in the schedule yet. Yet orientation week. Oh well, I will. So there was no classes last week, but kind of a chock-a-block full week of stuff, I think, for you guys. And so today we're just gonna do introductions, obviously. And then on Thursday, we're going to do section 1.1. So it might be a good idea to kind of flip through 1.1, do a refresher on functions and function notation, right? We're going to be working with functions, and so of course we have to start there. So like I said, this course is kind of, you know, we're starting not from the ground up, but we're kind of starting where we're all at the same level, and then we can build up. What's the main reason you have to take math? Besides, obviously, you have to do some math. It's for problem solving, right? Kind of teach you how to problem solve and teach you how to Dougie. No, too old maybe. I need to pick up better pop culture references. Okay. Course outline, I think. No, I feel like there was something else I wanted to say. Any questions before do this last little official bit? Usually, have you mingled with the previous cohort yet?
No,
No?
not really.
They didn't scare you about the math diagnostic test?
Ooh, there's a math diagnostic test.
So in the past, what we've done is so cruel. In that orientation week, bam, this math diagnostic test. I decided against it this year because, well, it's not a fun way to start math. Here, so start with a test, would you? And you don't know me yet, and things like that. And I also found that we didn't cover all the material later on in the course, or kind of most of the material. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to post that diagnostic test so that you can have a look at it. And the reason I want to do that is so that you can try it. Okay, I'll post the solutions too, and then you can kind of self-diagnose. Okay, if you're looking at this diagnostic test and you feel like you cannot tackle any of those problems, then come meet with me and we can work through it together. Okay, there are some of those problems that are a little bit higher level, and I might say, oh, don't worry about that, we're going to cover that in, you know, chapter 3 or whatever, right? And so, but there are some kind of core things that we should have under control. Now, I wish I could remember what those were. Yeah, I know. I keep myself on my toes with all my weird namings. Here, hang on. It's because I imported from last year. Show. So I don't have the solutions up yet. But I guess if you look at the videos from last year, we did do some of the solutions. Okay. And so now I'll go back here, switch to too messy on my end. I like it in here with you guys. So like I said, just kind of have a peek, see how it feels, right? And so some of them are going to be, you know, fine, hopefully. Right? Solving for x. Uh-oh, some fractions in there. Dun, dun, dun. Simplification. Scientific notation. Right? So just kind of various things. Let's see here. One of the ones that I'm most curious about. Let's take a moment. And if you had to solve this question just internally on a diagnostic test, just think about how it would feel. Would you feel super comfortable doing that? Don't know where to start, or somewhere kind of on that spectrum? I'm not asking you to do it or anything like that. Just kind of take stock of how it feels to be looking at that question and trying to solve it. We're going to work with quadratics in chapter 3. So no sweat, we're going to get there, right? And so I'd say this is kind of, you know, the hardest question on the diagnostic test, more or less.
Would it be 2?
Pardon?
Would it actually be 2?
Probably, I don't know. I haven't actually looked at it. Minus b -3 plus minus the square root of 9 minus 4 times -49. -3 plus minus 7 divided by 2 times 1. Whatever that is. Anyways, just a nice way to check in. There will be 2 solutions, right? And we're jumping way ahead here, but what we're going to learn, and this is kind of nice for when we introduce the toolkit functions, as I'll call them. When we see the highest power of x is 2, then we have a parabola like this, right? And we want to know what values of x make this equal to 0, right? So where does it cross the x-axis, right? And so we're going to learn all those things, but that's why it's so important to know these creatures, x squared, what it looks like, right? What something just involving an x is a line looks like, right? And so in chapter 1 now we're going to spend some time kind of getting to know these functions and what they look like, and that'll help us solve problems. Okay. Wait. Oof. Hands off, Emily. Okay. Good. So I encourage you to read ahead. That's one of the main reasons I never do material on the first day, because it feels super rude to be like, hey, here's the textbook. Now, have you read it? No, you haven't read it, right? That's crazy. And so now at least you have a little bit of a head start and you can kind of read 1.1, but I will just be kind of talking you through it. So I'm not assuming that you've read it, but it is always nice to at least have seen material, right? Even if it doesn't make sense the first time that you do a pass, right? If when I'm talking about things is the second time that you're hearing it or seeing it, then of course that's going to make more sense. Even if it's the third time, right? Then that's going to make even more sense, right? And so there's all these kind of, are they memes or are they just mean? Where it's all these students being like, how come this guy on YouTube could explain things better than my prof could? But then there's kind of counter comments to that being like, well, it's probably, you know, the second or third time that you're hearing this stuff. So you're kind of more prepared to hear it. So I know reading is boring, but it is worthwhile just to skim it and just to kind of have seen some of the stuff beforehand is really valuable. Here's my course outline. Allison made this snazzy template for us all to use, which I'm not really used to, but it's beautiful. All the same information. The lecture topics, I didn't know what to say, so I just kind of listed the chapters. We'll skip that, but most kind of importantly on the course outline that we haven't talked about yet is we're going to have about 20%, exactly 20% is going to be assignments, and there will be 2 tests, and of course a final exam worth 40% of your grade. Okay. And those 2 tests, I like to give myself a little bit of wiggle room. I say there's 2, but I don't say that they're 20% each, just in case I, you know, haven't taught you guys properly and the whole class fails or something like that. I reserve the right to weigh that one less, less than the other one, that kind of thing. And so, but generally just 20% each, right? Because hopefully I won't fail you that bad. Okay. I want everyone to do well in this course, right? I want this to be a GPA booster. I want this to be a good course. I expect work for that, right? But I do try to be as reasonable as possible by giving you all these resources and just kind of being available to kind of take you through this course. So it will require work, of course, but rude, I know, but perfectly reasonable to do well. You can do very well in this course. I don't think it's on here because this is the wet department. There's no lab in this course, obviously, so this is just standard verbiage. But you have to pass the final to pass the course, okay? And so I think, is that what it says? No, it doesn't. It's just overall. Okay, I'll have to check because the math department, so I work in the math department, of course, and so we have a policy that says you have to get at least 45% on the final in order to be eligible to pass the course. Okay, so I'm going to check with Allison and see, or Sydney, I guess. Allison's been the chair for ever, so I'm so used to it being Allison, but now it's Sydney. Got a new boss in town. And so I'll have to get used to that, but I'll check with Sydney to see if there's anything kind of about that. I should have paid attention. To it's like blurb, blurb, blurb. Yep. Didn't read it. See, I don't even read my own stuff. So I'll check on that. But let's just, as a general rule, say you have to pass the final to pass the course. I think that's pretty reasonable, right? The final exam is cumulative, so it'll be the entire course, right? But what I will be doing is just kind of each test will make up, roughly half of the final exam. So, so those tests are meant to prepare you for the final exam. I'm constantly feeding you things to prepare you for the final exam. There was something there. As a math department, we do not offer makeup tests. So if you miss a test for any reason, that's okay. What I'll do is I'll just transfer the weight of that test to the final exam. Only in very extreme circumstances would I transfer both tests. And so I'm only going to do it for one, but obviously I'm kind of hopefully a reasonable person. And so if you truly need to miss both tests, then, we'll talk about that. But for one of the tests, I'll shift the weight to the final exam. Okay. I know what you're thinking. What if I haven't studied for one of these tests and it kind of crept up on me and I don't feel prepared? Then I would be strategically better off to just skip the test. No, don't do that. So to stop that kind of thinking, because it's so important to, even if you're not prepared, I want you to come in here and I want you to sit down, look at these questions, tackle them as best as you can, right? And even if you don't do well, what I'll do is, assuming your final exam is better, right? My goal is to just, as long as you're improving, right? As long as your final exam is better, I'll pretend you didn't come and shift the weight to the final exam. And so I always want you to come and try this test, right? Because there's so much value in kind of being in a test situation and reading these questions and trying to solve these questions. Maybe you surprise yourself and you just kind of pull it off. Woo! Awesome, right? And even if you don't, even if it actually is a bad test, then you'll know what it felt like and you can kind of prepare better. Okay? And you don't have to worry about it because, as I promised in video and everything, at some time point, you'll have to find it. I'll shift the weight of one of your tests to the final exam. Okay? Any questions about that? So my only goal is for you to learn the material by the end of the course. Wow, seems pretty reasonable, I think. So there's the link to the textbook that we'll be using. I'm going to be drawing from some kind of wet textbooks as well. But the open source ones that I could find don't hit all the things that we need to cover. So that's why I'm kind of sticking with the pre-calculus, but I'll be drawing from other sources, or trying to. Learning outcomes make no sense right now. That's okay. But once we're studying for the final exam, then we'll kind of go back over these and you'll say, oh yeah, I know how to do all these things, or Some of them I skip. I don't think you need to go so hard into trim in wet. But we do need a lot of logs. A lot of logs. So I'm guessing Sydney has gone through all these policies and they're all the same. Is that true? Yeah, and hammered with it. So then I won't. And like I said, a lot of it is kind of not applicable because we don't have a lab. Obviously, labs are important, but not in math. Any questions, comments, concerns? No. I feel like that's all I've got. With that, I release you and I'll see you on Thursday. How about that? I'll stick around if you have any questions, just, kind of one-on-one questions. But we'll end it there. See you on Thursday. Thank you. Stop this recording.